Okay, so for this Zoom meeting, what we're going to do is we're going to cover assignments number 6 and number 7. So again, like the other class days, so what I'll do is I'll go over some examples of it. I'll give you guys a couple of the answers that way you know and have an idea of what we're covering and what it's supposed to look like. And then after that, then I'll ask you guys if you have any questions. So for the first one, it says quiz, and then it says adding and subtracting rationals, and that is for assignment number 6, and that should be on page number 1 at the top. So, so for this one, so the very first question, actually question 1 and number 2 are talking about that little table there. And then it has a count and balance. So let me kind of write that here real quick. So it has a count and then balance. Okay. So count and balance. I think I drew it way better than the way it looks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So something like that. And then it has A, B, C, D, and E. Right there. Okay, so so for this one right here, basically question number 1 is talking about this chart. And then you're going to see some that are positive and some that are negative. So usually, like if you're talking about like a bank account, or like let's say you have this money saved up, usually anything that's negative means that you're taking money out or you're withdrawing money. So all of the ones, I think A is 5684, so 5684. The next one is a negative 19, 36. The next one, okay, so the next one after that is 8336. And then we have negative 3045. And then we have negative 4618. All right, so the important thing to know is that, so with these, anything that's negative means that you're taking money out, so you're subtracting it. So any of the ones that are on here that say negative, then that means that you're withdrawing the money. And then 5684, that means like you're adding money to the account. So for the first question, so question number 1, it says, what is the total amount of negative balances? So the total amount of negative balances would be adding all of these up. So you would add this one up right here, you would add this one, and then you would add this one. So you add all of those 3 together, of course it's going to be a negative. And then, so once you add all of those 3 together, you're going to get a number here. But that's all you're doing. And it's going to be a negative number. So what you guys need to do for that one is just add B, D, and E. And that's it. And then, so it'll give you a number, and that number is a negative. And then that's going to be your answer. So I just set up the quizzes link. So if you want to do the quizzes link, you can do that. If you prefer to do the like print it out, write your answers down, and then send it to me, then you can do that too. It's whatever you guys prefer to do. But for number 1, that's what you would do. For number 2, it says how much money is in account C, or how much more money is in account C than E. So they're saying how much more is in here than in here. So you would have to count the difference between these 2 numbers right there. So just kind of like as a hint, so from negative 46 all the way to 0, that's going to be $46.18. And then you have to go from 0 all the way up to $83.36. So basically you're going to add 46.18 plus another 83.36. And that'll give you your answer for number 2. So for number 2, it's again, the question is, how much more money is in account C than E? And then all you have to do is figure out what's the difference between negative 46 and a positive 83.36. So if you think about it like as in a number line, and you have like 0 right here in the middle, and then you have your negative 46.18 over here, and then on this side over here you have a, let's say it's 83.36. So what they're asking for is the difference between these two numbers. So of course you're going to have to count from here all the way to 0, and then again from here all the way to 83.36. So that's basically what you do for number 2 on that. For number 3, basically they're just saying write the problem that describes what's going on right there. So if they're going to, like if you're on a number line and you're going to the left, remember that's negative. So if it's negative 1, 2, 3, 4, you count how many numbers. So if it's 0 right here, and then 1, 2, 3, and then you have an arrow that starts right here and then goes this way up to number 3, then that means that it's going negative 3. So you would just count 1, 2, 3. So all you have to do for number 3 and number 4 is count, okay, how far does it go to the left or how far does it go to the right? So for example, let's do number 3. So on number 3, the bottom arrow goes to the left, negative 3, from 0 to negative 3. So that means that, I can erase all this already. So for number 3, you have the number line, and then you have a 0 in the middle, and then you have negative 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, and negative 5. And then you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So basically for number 3, that first arrow, it's showing you that it's going from here to negative 3, right? So then that means negative 3. And then you have another arrow that's starting from here, and then it's going all the way to a number 2. So it's going all the way to number 2. So then what that means is if you're starting at negative 3, then that means that you're going, oh man, I have to fix that. Okay, so then that means that you're starting on negative 3, and then you're going all the way to positive 2. So what that means is you're going up to 1, 2, 3, which is 0, and then 4, 5. So that's a positive 5. So then technically what they're saying with this arrow going that way and this arrow going this way is negative 3 plus 5. So negative 3 plus 5. So if you have 3 negative and numbers and then 5 positive, you can do this. And then what happens is one of these negative ones cancels out one of the positive. And then this other negative cancels out this other positive. This other negative cancels out another positive. And then you're left with just 2 positive ones at the end. So negative 3 plus 5 equals 2, positive 2. So that'll be the answer. This is the answer for number 3, positive 2. Number 4, so now that you know what this means, then all you have to do is figure out number 4. Number 5, 6, and 7, all of that is covering the same stuff that we've been covering this whole time. So all it is adding or subtracting positive and negative numbers. So like I'll do number 5. So number 5 says negative 20 plus negative 14. So in this case, negative 20, if you have 20 negative guys and then you have negative 14 guys, these are just going to combine because we're just adding a negative number and another negative number. So negative 20 plus a negative 14 means negative 34. That's all that means. So, so that's the answer for number 5. On the second page, for assignment number 6, so number 8, 9, and number 10 are all the same thing. All you're doing is adding, subtracting positive and negative numbers. So just what we've been doing for the past like couple weeks. So I'll let you guys do number 8, number 9, and number 10. Number 11 and number 12, it's the same thing. You're adding and subtracting negative numbers, but it's just in a word problem format. So all of those, you guys should be able to take care of those. So now let me go to assignments number 7. So we got about 15 minutes left for the Zoom meeting, and then I'll open it for some questions. So for assignment number 7, so assignment number 7, you start off with, there's just 2 word problems at the top. So each month, Ian pays $10 for his music subscription. So he subscribed to some kind of music, I guess like something like iTunes, something like that. And it says, how is his bank account being impacted each month? So he pays $10 each month for the subscription. So how is his bank impacted each month? So basically in his bank account, this is happening. So negative $10 every month. You can say each month. And that's it. So that's the answer for that first question. So for the very first question on assignment number 7, then all you have to do is write that. So negative $10 each month. That's it. For the second one, it's kind of a similar thing. So he decides to stop the subscription after 3 months. By then, how much has his bank account been impacted? So after 3 months of paying it, how much money has he spent? That's all they're asking. And then so you solve that one. The next part right beneath that on assignment number 7 is integers can be blank on the number line too. So integers can be multiplied on the number line. I remember when, I think it was starting in January, we had a lot of word problems like that where there was a number line like that. And then you guys were jumping like by 2s, and it was like negative 2 right here, 0, and then like a positive 2 right here. And then you guys were jumping like that. So that's basically what they're doing. So now all they're doing is we're just multiplying numbers. So right beneath that, there's a bunch of questions. So what do you notice about the product? So they're talking about what's happening on the number line. And then right beneath that, then there's a bunch of questions. So right underneath that, also on the quizzes, there's like more people joining. Okay, so on the quizzes app, these are all going to be separate questions. So, and a lot of these, honestly, they're very easy because all it is really just learning what the signs are going to be once you multiply two numbers. So, like the very first one, 6 times 7. So answer is 42, right? So that's one answer right there. Right after that, then they go to, they start doing negatives. So negative 6 times 7 equals negative 42. So this is the only thing that you're gonna have to learn when you're doing these is, what does it mean when you multiply a negative number and a positive number? It means that you're gonna have a negative number at the end. When you multiply a positive and a positive like that, obviously it's a positive number. But the other thing is, if you have two negative numbers, so if it's like a negative 6 times a negative 7, then that actually is going to be a positive number also. So negative 6 times negative 7 is a positive 42, which is also one of the questions on there. So I just gave you 3 answers right there for the first row. So if, so kind of the easy way to think about it, or the easy way to remember it, is if you're multiplying times something that is the same symbol, the same sign, it's going to be positive. So like positive number and a positive number, it's going to be a positive answer. Since these two are the same sign, negative number and a negative number, then it's also going to be positive. The only time that it'll be a negative is if you're multiplying two numbers that have different signs. So like negative 6 times positive 7, that'll be a negative 42. So that's the only thing that you have to keep in mind when you're doing all of these problems is, if they're both the same sign, it's going to be a positive answer. If they're both different signs, it's going to be a negative answer. And that's it. So you guys should be able to do all of those, because honestly, they're all single digits. There's a couple of double digits in there, like there's like an 11 in there. But all of these are simple math. So like 3 times 11, and 8 times 6, 9 times 4, all of these are very easy questions. And I'm going to upload the quizzes right after this Zoom meeting. I'm going to upload the quiz for assignment number 7. Assignment number 6, I just uploaded it right before this Zoom meeting. So assignment number 6 is already up. So once you're done with this Zoom meeting, you can jump on there. You can take the quizzes for assignment number 6. And then by the time you're done with assignment number 6, I should probably be uploading assignment number 7. So second page. So for the second page of assignment number 7, erase this. So for the second page on assignment number 7, at the top, they're talking about multiplying integers and dividing integers. So the very first section, the multiplying integers, it starts with multiply the blank and blank. So for that one, it's going to be, and I'll give you some of these answers so that way. So 2, and then numbers. So when you're multiplying integers, you just multiply the 2 numbers. And then the second bullet point, so that's for the first bullet point. Then there's a second bullet point, and then there's a third bullet point. And then I think all of them have, 2. So for the second bullet point, it says, if the signs are the same, which is what we were just talking about right now, if the signs are the same, then the product is going to be positive. And then if the signs are different, exactly what we were talking about right now, then it's going to be a negative. So those are 6 answers right there for the first part on page number 2 for assignment number 7. And then the next part, dividing integers. So dividing integers, so when you divide the 2 numbers, so when you're dividing 2 numbers, if the signs are the same, the quotient is positive. So same thing here. When you're dividing, this is when you're multiplying. And then when you're dividing. So when you're dividing, let's see. So we have 4 bullet points here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we have 2 each. So for the first bullet point, it says divide the 2 numbers. So 2 numbers. And so let's say, so when you're dividing the 2 numbers, and then if the signs are the same, then it's positive. Just the same as when you're multiplying. So if it's negative times a negative, or if it's a negative divided by a negative, then it's going to be a positive. So when it's like that, then it's like that. Then when it's, let's see, if the signs are different, then it's a negative. So different, then it's a negative. So just the same way when we're talking about multiplying, if the signs are going to be different, then it's going to be a negative number. Then the last part is, remember, if the dividend is 0, then you will have an unidentified answer. So that one, we haven't gotten too much into it yet, but if you ever divide a number by a 0, then it's going to be undefined. But you won't have to worry about that for all of these questions on this one. You don't have to worry about that. So none of the answers are going to be undefined. So they're all going to be just multiplying or dividing, basically positive numbers and negative numbers. So then right after that, then you're going to have about 20 questions on multiplying or dividing. Honestly, dividing or multiplying, it's the exact same thing. The only thing that we're focusing on here is this, and this is what you have to remember is, if you're multiplying or dividing by 2 numbers that are the same symbol, then it's going to be positive. So whether you're multiplying it or you're dividing it, if it's a negative and a negative, then it's going to be a positive. If the 2 symbols are different, if it's 2 different signs, so if it's like a positive and a negative, then and that's it. So that'll be everything. So let me go ahead and unmute, and then, or I'll allow you guys. So does anybody have any questions?
Bro.
Okay, so does anybody have any questions? No questions? Now you guys should be able to unmute yourselves. Oh, wait, let me do that. Okay, so yeah, any questions?
There you go. Nope. No. Mister, I got it.
No.
No.
Misael.
No.
Okay, whose picture is the potato head?
Okay, so if nobody has any questions, then I guess that's it. But anybody that has any questions about the assignment?
Yes.
No.
No.
Yeah, this is pretty easy stuff. I mean, it's basically stuff that we are covering in class. So I'm trying to still keep it pretty simple. I am covering a little bit of new things, but it's very similar to what we've been doing this whole time in class. So, I mean, really, you guys shouldn't have any issues with any of this. But yeah, that's it. I mean, if you guys don't have any questions, then the next Zoom meeting is going to be on Friday at 1:30. And then, like I said, so right now, you guys, you can either print these out, work it out on paper, take a picture, scan it, and then you email it to me, or you can upload it to Google Classroom. Or the other option is you do the quizzes. It's one or the other. You don't have to do both. So if you decide to do the quizzes, you don't have to print anything out. You don't have to write any answers down on a piece of paper. All you really have to do is just jump on the quizzes app, and then that's it. So if you guys have any questions, I mean, you can, I know some of you guys have been just emailing me, or you've been just sending some other like comments on Google Classroom. That's fine. I mean, you don't really have to do any of those things if you don't have any questions. So that's it. I mean, the next meeting will be on Friday at 1:30. So I'll see you guys then if there's no questions.